My name is Clint Barrick, and I'm station manager of Classical 105.7, Lubbock's new home for classical music on the radio. Joining me in the Lubbock Public Media Studios are Brad Green, board member of the LSO and a major figure in the Lubbock arts community, David Cho, music director and conductor of the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra, and Richard Fountain, dean of the School of Creative Arts at Wayland Baptist University and principal keyboardist of the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra. Welcome to you all.
Well, thank you, Clint. Glad to be here.
Brad Green, let me start with you. As a pre-concert feature, we heard and enjoyed the Caprockers, of which you are a member. So tell us about the group and your association with it.
Well, the Caprockers is a local band from the Lubbock area. Four of the guys have been playing together for over 30 years, and then I'm the new guy. I've been with them about 20 years. And it's a band that plays a lot of different kinds of music, but mostly we focus on the classic rock from the era, I would say, the 1960s to the 1980s.
It amazes me that you're just music of all kinds. It doesn't matter if it's the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra or the Caprockers, you're comfortable with it all.
I do enjoy music of all kinds, and I think that's why it's so important for all of us as patrons of the music is to enjoy it all. It doesn't matter what the genre is, it's just important that you take it all in. We don't have to be pigeonholed into silos anymore.
Lots of orchestras have begun giving pre-concert concerts. Now, the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra does it, several others as well. So what do you think about the opportunity for the audience to come a little early and hear a variety of music before a major concert?
I just think it's a great idea. All of the symphonies around the country are looking for more ways to expand and diversify the people who will come to a symphonic concert. For the Lubbock Symphony, we've already done one of these concerts that you are familiar with, where we did the symphony, and it was a pre-concert with a country and western band. It's a gift from musicians to the audience and a gift from the audience back to the musician of appreciating that time together.
David Cho, let me ask you about some of the other music that's going to be coming up on the program. We have some music by Carl Nielsen coming up next.
Danish composer Nielsen wrote 6 symphonies, and his first symphony, which we will feature in a moment, was a musical gift to his wife. It's youthful, and the first movement begins as if one is entering a party at the height of it. It just feels like you're entering this grand ballroom of just enthusiastic people who are welcoming you. Second movement is very idyllic in a way that he was brought up as a violinist. However, during the war, he played in the army band as a trumpet player and trombone player. So the second movement is heavily influenced by that nature. The third movement, he originally said in the score, this is not a scherzo. Scherzo, as we all know it, literal translation is a joke, and it is infused by his reveration for Beethoven and his Fifth Symphony. It has that ta-ta-ta-ta motif saturated throughout the movement. The fourth movement is a perfect example of what's called progressive tonality compositional technique, because he writes the final movement away from the home key. He starts in the home key of G minor and ends with C major, which creates this magnified youthfulness and the heroism of the music. So, yes, I think it should be heard more often.
Great. David Cho, music director and conductor of the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra. Also with us, Dr. Richard Fountain. Richard, welcome to be with us today. It's great to have you.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
We'd love to hear your thoughts about the Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto, which is also on the program. Why do you think that the Tchaikovsky Concerto is such an enduring work and that people just love to hear it all the time?
Yeah, it really is an iconic work. It's one of the top 40 of classical music, partly because it has this iconic opening, and it's this noble, majestic, sort of declamatory music with these huge chords that the pianist has to play up and down the keyboard. It's probably one of the most athletic things that had been written to this point. I mean, in terms of a piano concerto, the chords are almost always full. You're playing double octaves a lot of the time. Your hands are spread out. And there's this great visual effect to what you see when somebody's playing this concerto. And I think that's all of that together creates this wonderful, comprehensive experience for the audience. I think of it in connection even to what we heard earlier with this classic rock music. It's so rhythmically driven. It's this muscular music. It's very athletic. You're seeing somebody just work really hard on stage, but at the same time look like they're having such a great time. And so all of those together, I think, create this enduring work of music that's become really quite famous.
This particular Tchaikovsky piece, it demonstrates how that he was pushing the envelope. He's pushing the edges of what can be done, and maybe stylistically or the actual presentations, even the music itself is maybe even pushing the whole genre into another area or a new part.
One of the famous stories with the Tchaikovsky Concerto is similar to many of the great rock musicians. Tchaikovsky wrote this piece, thought it worked really, really well. It was groundbreaking in different ways texturally, and he would take it to other people and they would play through it, or they would look at it and say, "You can't do this. It's not possible either. It's too hard. You can't play. Nobody's going to listen to this." And of course now it's a standard.
Richard, I'd like to take the moment to ask you a technical question as a pianist. In the Tchaikovsky Concerto, towards the end, everything sort of comes to a stop, and the pianist has to play this incredible passage of octaves. I see you laughing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. How does a pianist make that happen?
That's a great question. To play octaves really well, you have to have a really good awareness of weight and balance in your body. You have to do it with great power and great precision because, of course, you're projecting through a large concert hall, right? And you have to make it also sound melodic, right? Because you have to have this sense of building to this particular high point because you're building up to this dominant before the orchestra returns with this great finale theme. So you have a really strong awareness of just maintaining that balance, and you're bouncing off of the beats inside your body to make sure that you can stay controlled, but also give the excitement that the piece deserves.
Well, it's a moment that everybody waits for, and it's thrilling, and I knew you would have some cool insights to that. Exactly.
Tonight's program, or Masterworks 4, is about musical gift, and not only Nielsen being the musical gift to his wife, which is very nice and lovely. Tchaikovsky is a musical gift gone wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting story because, Tchaikovsky is attempting to say this is one of my magnum opus pieces, because I think he knew when he wrote it, this is an iconic effort. Whenever you write a first major form, who else to take it to except for this great figure in Russian music at the time. It's really like somebody in the 70s or 80s going to Leonard Bernstein and saying, "I've written this, would you bless it?" Would you look at this and say, is this worth, the effort? Because I feel like this is this great moment. Nowadays, when we hear the music of Tchaikovsky, we think also of Rachmaninoff, who is really quite a bit later, the next generation more or less, when this tradition of great Russian pianists and great Russian piano compositions had been established. But at this point with Tchaikovsky, it was starting to be there, but it really wasn't there yet. So I think he was also looking for some approval that this is a direction our music can take, rather than, you think of Glinka and you think of the old Russian opera tradition, which is well established at this point. And so what direction should our composers take was still a very open question at that time.
The music that bears the mindfulness of innovation was very important to Tchaikovsky. And I think at one point Tchaikovsky came to America to conduct an inaugural concert of the esteemed Carnegie Hall. Tchaikovsky knew how to innovate, and I think at his prime, one would hear 2 notes of Tchaikovsky or harmonic progression, and you would know right away it's Tchaikovsky.
And then also with Tchaikovsky, with this piece, there's just this thickness to the writing. And I speak of it as a pianist, it's difficult to get a hold of, literally, because of the many notes that you're always shifting between. So it's quite physically demanding to play. I think that's another thing that makes this piece so iconic, is you can see that struggle unfolding over 40 minutes.
There's a lot of butterflying in Liszt that is not in Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky is a lot more dig into the soul of it.
And even Tchaikovsky's butterfly writing, like in the second movement of this concerto, is incredibly physical. It's very, very grounded, and it's again very much large shapes flying around. I think that's one of the reasons why Rubinstein and others looked at it and said, "You can't do this. Like, who are you going to think is going to play this, right?" are you going to play it? And it was just not quite in the accepted way of writing piano music.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Brad Green, David Cho, Richard Fountain. Thank you so much for visiting with us on this Lubbock Symphony Orchestra concert.